And welcome. The highest court of India has delivered a historic verdict today, constitutionally upholding the decision of the Parliament to abrogating Article 370. This is a moment that every Indian shall remember. The integration of India, ladies and gentlemen, tonight from Kashmir to Kanyakumari has been affirmed by the Supreme Court of India. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, every Tukde gang member, who has tried to fearmonger has faced a complete bloody nose. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the integration of India, which has somehow been traded by the thriving of some sort of Azadi business, the need to focus on nationalism, which has relentlessly and constantly been qualified, ladies and gentlemen. Repeatedly, the need to focus on nationalism has been qualified by a group of people who have their own interests to look at. The attempt to confuse the people of India about the real reasons why 370 and 35A were removed, had to be removed. All of these questions come to naught on this Monday evening. It is clear to everyone that the decision of the government of India was legal, was correct, but most importantly, that was a decision which was taken purely and only in national interest. Ladies and gentlemen, national interest means that there are moments when you do not need to qualify things with the riders of pressure groups. All of this comes to an end. Why? Because the Supreme Court of India, affirming the decision of the Parliament of August 5th, 2019, to simply slice at the root any differential treatment of Jammu and Kashmir and bring to the same plane as every other state of India, is only testament of the fact that the India of today has moved beyond pressure tactics and local constituencies to a situation where we have an outright belief that politics shall not be rooted in anything but the outright belief in nation first. So today, it's a sad day for the Mehbooba Muftis and the Omar Abdullahs, who have been long thriving on the business of quote-unquote Azadi, the stone pelters whose shutters have been down since the abrogation of 370, and the blood money which has been flowing and flowing and flowing from the terror havens of Pakistan. I ask today, what is your eventual problem with the overhaul and cleansing of the systematic hold that the overground and underground workers have had over Kashmir? Is the problem that a certain constituency that has long been seen as a dominant constituency of Kashmir, that is now seeing development as an answer to the exploitation of the lack of it on the ground? What is the problem? Is the problem that Kashmiris have only been seen for a very long time as a byproduct of being an affirmative operators of varying degrees of support to the Muftis and Abdullahs, ladies and gentlemen, as opposed to being vociferous opposers of that same policy? On the ground, we know Kashmir has changed. We know today tourism is at a high. We know investment is at an high. We know the people of Kashmir have been integrated. We know the infiltration has come down. We know the terror incidents have come down. And ladies and gentlemen, as I see it, the Naya Kashmir model has won. And the national security position, or the lack of it, has flopped vis-a-vis the India alliance. How much of it will play vis-a-vis the 2024 elections is my question tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the Supreme Court of India has reaffirmed the position on 370's abrogation. Big debate tonight. I come to you with three debates this evening. One, the resounding legal victory for the Modi government. The Supreme Court upholds the abrogation of 370. Debate number two tonight. Interesting choice of a chief ministerial candidate, Mr. Mohan Yadav. A surprise choice. What does it reflect in terms of BJP strategy? And debate number three this evening, viewers, 351 crores and counting from a Congress MP. Was the money for himself, for the party, or for someone else? That's debate three. And here are the headlines. Monday, the 11th of December, this evening on the debate tonight. Supreme Court calls the abrogation of Article 370 valid and legal. Big setback to the pro-Pakistan lobby. Prime Minister Modi calls the verdict a resounding declaration of hope and progress of Naya Kashmir. In a blazing speech in the Rajya Sabha, Amit Shah says Nehru is the root cause of the decades-long Kashmir crisis. Unexpected announcement, Mohan Yadav named the new Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. From Chhattisgarh to Madhya Pradesh is the BJP's move of unexpected strategies, a sign of things to come for 2024. And with rupees 351 crore, Congress MP-linked raids are India's biggest ever cash haul. The BJP launches protests against this corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, on August 5th, 2019, when the Modi government abrogated Article 370 and 35A, it was truly a celebration. Tonight, as the Supreme Court upheld the constitutional validity of the abrogation of Article 370, it deals a hammer blow to the pro-Pakistan tukre voices in India. Here are details of that verdict, and then we shall debate.
Declaration issued by the President under Article 370, Clause 3 is a culmination of the process of integration and as such is a valid exercise of power.
Article 370 abrogation has been declared valid and legal, with Supreme Court seeking restoration of statehood of Jammu and Kashmir and also elections by September 2024.
This court is alive to the security concerns in the territory. Direct elections to the legislative assemblies, which is one of the paramount features of representative democracy in India, cannot be put on hold until statehood is restored. We direct that steps shall be taken by the Election Commission of India to conduct elections to the Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, constituted under Section 14 of the Reorganization Act by 30 September 2024. Restoration of statehood shall take place at the earliest and as soon as possible.
The verdict, a resounding endorsement of Modi government's August 5, 2019 decision.
क्योंकि आज ही सर्वोच्च अदालत की संवैधानिक खंडपीठ ने धारा 370 को समाप्त करने का और जम्मू कश्मीर राज्य के पुनर्गठन का विधेयक, जो मैं 5 अगस्त 2019 को इस सदन में मोदी जी के लिए गए निर्णय के अनुमोदना में लेकर आया था, वो बिल लाने की मंशा, बिल का संवैधानिक रूप से स्वीकार और पूरी प्रक्रिया को भी माननीय सर्वोच्च अदालत ने संवैधानिक घोषित किया है, सर्वानुमत से किया।
Post abrogation, the situation in Kashmir saw a marked difference. With no incidents of stone pelting, reduction in terror attacks, a boom in tourism industry, hosting of big diplomatic event, and a renewed sense of nationalism.
पत्थर लेकर घूमते थे मोदी सरकार ने, इस प्रधानमंत्री ने इसके हाथ में लैपटॉप पकड़ाने का काम किया है। पूरी दुनिया के एक्सेस और आतंकवाद और अलगाववाद की बात करने वाले लोग धारा 370 का आधार बनाकर अलगाववाद की बात करने वाले लोग आज जो लोग बात करते हैं उनकी कश्मीर की जनता अनसुनी करती है, डेमोक्रेसी और डेवलपमेंट की बात करती है। मान्यवर, ये आज बदलाव हुआ है।
Prime Minister Modi too has called Supreme Court verdict historic and a resounding declaration of hope, progress and unity. And the focus is back on Nehruvian blunders that led to Kashmir crisis in the first place.
जो नेहरू जी के विचारों के, नेहरू जी के कामों के बड़े प्रशंसक है और अनुयायी है, उनको भी पसंद नहीं आता है जो हम कहते हैं। मगर मैं उनको बड़ी विनम्रता से पूछना चाहता हूं, अगर धारा 370 इतनी ही न्यायिक थी, इतनी ही जरूरतमंद थी, तो इसके सामने एक ही आर्टिकल है मान्यवर जिसके सामने टेम्पररी शब्द का उपयोग किया गया, वो स्वयं नेहरू जी ने क्यों किया होगा? जो लोग कहते हैं कि धारा 370 परमानेंट है, वो संविधान सभा की मंशा का अपमान कर रहे हैं, संविधान का अपमान।
With the topmost court too upholding the constitutionality of abrogation, the era of Naya Kashmir has truly arrived. Let's debate.
With me this evening is Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, MP, Rajya Sabha, National Spokesperson of the BJP. We have, there we are. We have Sushil Pandit in the studio. We have Sanjay Saraf, both Kashmiri Pandits. Sushil Pandit, a well-known columnist and activist. We have Ahmad Ayaz with me in the studio. We have Nikhil Jain with me in the studio. And first, Sudhanshu Trivedi ji, let us understand where the critics stand on this. So Ahmad Ayaz and Nikhil Jain, especially Mr. Ayaz, I hope today, after today, all of this criticism will end. You know, because if you look at the judgment, it is a tight slap in the face of all the people who have been saying that the government was wrong in abrogating Article 370. So, first of all, do you accept that, Mr. Ayaz, that, you know, this attempt to question the government on everything by taking every matter to the Supreme Court, in fact, court ne khud kaha hai, sir, aapse. Court said that please don't bring every issue to the court. Let the government decide. So I think it's a lesson for all activists like you also.
Proceedings. So as it is, so many times court has.
Correct.
As it is, the court has held the decision of the government. There's no doubt about it, and it's very clear. But the point is, when you say that whether it was right or wrong, then all this should end. But I don't see it should end. Why? Because it looks to be discriminatory on various points.
Can you reduce the echo in the studio? 1 minute. There's a big echo in the studio. Can the echo in the studio be brought down, please? Can the echo in the studio be brought down, please? Thank you very much. Okay.
See, yeah. 370 to the J&K was giving special status, certain privileges.
No, there are no special privileges.
No, it was given. I'm talking.
No, there
was given.
No, there.
Why? Because it was.
No, these were all lies that you put up.
You should accept the fact.
These are all.
Then why did you?
Just one, Mr. Saraf,
no
this way.
special status for the Jammu and Kashmir. Why it was needed to be removed? Then it should have been left at it.
Yeah, so
because it gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir. That is why that the government did not like, the BJP did not like. It was on their agenda to see that it is removed. They removed it.
Mr. Ayaz, this is all these things that you are saying. This is all a broken record. I was telling you for a long time, Sudhanshu Trivedi, I was telling all these activists, all these people, that this 370 was for a short time. वो तो मेहरबानी थी कि छोटे टाइम के लिए वो भी होना नहीं चाहिए था. It was a मेहरबानी done कि okay. No, there was no
time defined.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It was a temporary provision.
Yes.
And the Chief Justice has said today, in his judgment, and maybe Sudhanshu Trivedi can come in on this, that Article 370 was held to be a temporary provision on a historical reading, as per which it was transitory and temporary. You people wanted it to be permanent. You were going against the principles with which it was brought in. ये तो temporary थी, ये स्थायी provision थी नहीं. आप लोग झूठ बोल रहे हो पिछले नहीं 2019 से इतनी झूठ बोली जा रही है. ये झूठ तो कहीं बंद होगा ना. No, the court is no. You may say whatever your reason. One minute. I want Sudhanshu. Then 1 minute. I want Sudhanshu.
There is a reason.
Please don't speak over him.
There is a reason the Constituent Assembly was formed, and they did not recommend in 1957 about its.
I'd like Sudhanshu to come in. I can't hear Sudhanshu.
So that's why the features.
I can't hear Sudhanshu. The audio will have to be brought up. I can't hear Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu जी बोलिए, मैं देखता हूँ आपकी ऑडियो आ रही है कि नहीं.
आवाज आ रही है कि नहीं? Is the voice coming?
Yes.
Have my submission
coming.
I just want to make
the
voice coming. That he's saying that this is the agenda of BJP. No, sir, BJP has taken that agenda, which was the unfinished agenda of the Constituent Assembly. That he's saying that this is the agenda. There was no special status. Home Minister, ये मुझे इको हो रहा है, इसको ठीक करवा दीजिएगा. Home Minister Shri Amit Shah ji has made it very clear on the floor of the House that when everything was solved from Junagadh,
अब बोलिए, सुनाई दे रहा है, you carry on.
To Lakshadweep, then why can't it be? It could have been solved because it was the only state which Nehruji has taken in his own hand. And now, what the political will Shri Narendra Modi ji's government has taken in August 2019 to amend and remove the constitutional impediment towards the total integration of the Jammu Kashmir state to India. Today, it has gone. It has got a moral sanction and moral clarity. So on all the aspect of political, constitutional and moral aspect, everything has been now been crystal clear after today's judgment of the Supreme Court of India. And in this context, I would like to remind, ये कभी भी Constituent Assembly का agenda नहीं था. Home Minister ji has also quoted a letter on 17th of October 1949. Sheikh Abdullah has also quoted a letter. I want the total.
I need to at least hear.
Sheikh Abdullah has written to PS Committee of Sardar Patel that this was not done. And the word which is to be used as a residual power will rest with the interim government of Jammu and Kashmir was replaced by residual powers will be left with the union government. And that has, from there the things have changed. There were so many references has come at the time. This was the only state which Nehruji has taken in his own hand. When the entire issue of, entire department of princely states and their merger in India was dealt with by Sardar Patel. ये बातें तो अब बहुत साफ हो गई थी, वो बातें छोड़िए. आज जो चेंज आया है.
Let him complete and then you come in. There's an echo. Please understand.
Such a huge change. G20 summit हो गई है. वहां पर जहां कहते थे किसी तिरंगे को कब्जे वाला नहीं मिलेगा, वहां हरगत तिरंगा होगी. समिट हो गई है. सच वहां पर जहां कहते थे किसी the investment of 66,000 crore rupees has come to Jammu Kashmir, the only state which has got two aims. One in Jammu has become operational, another is Kashmir is coming. From historical blunder to making away a pathway for the new path of development in 21st century, this is the huge transition which you people are unable to understand, sir. अब तो चिनाब पे सबसे ऊंचा पुल भी बन गया. एक जमाना था जब हथगोले फेंके जाते थे, जब पत्थर फेंका जाता था सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस पे. एंड अर्नब, यू हैव सीन द लास्ट ईयर, दो भाई बहन एक दूसरे के ऊपर बर्फ के गोले कितने प्रेमपूर्ण वातावरण में फेंक रहे थे. कितना सुंदर वातावरण लग रहा था, सब कुछ शांत नजर आ रहा था. इतना बड़ा चेंज अगर उन बर्फ के गोले फेंकने वालों को भी नजर ना आए तो फिर मैं इसे कहूंगा कि वो देखते हुए भी नहीं देखना चाह रहे. इतना बड़ा चेंज अगर उन बर्फ के गोले फेंकने वालों को भी नजर ना आए तो फिर मैं इसे कहूंगा कि वो देखते हुए भी नहीं देखना चाह रहे.
No. Then देखना नहीं. One. We have to get I have to get everybody into this debate. I will give a chance to this side to respond right now, but I want to make another point to the viewers. Viewers, you see, when a government functions, there are people in an electoral democracy who will win an election, and there are people who will lose an election. The problem is, Sushil and Saraf ji, when people who lose an election, who are used to losing and who constantly lose, they want to go to the court on everything. And the Supreme Court has very politely said today, please stop doing this drama. The Supreme Court has said that every decision of the union government cannot be challenged because it will lead to a standstill of the administrative process. Let us run the country through the courts. The Chief Justice of India is himself saying it is not relevant to hold whether an announcement of abrogation of 370 was valid or not. Every decision taken by the union on behalf of the state during a presidential rule is not open to challenge. This will lead to the administration of the state to a standstill. This should also be a lesson to them. On every issue, 370, 35A, ED, investigations, corruption investigations, they go crying to the courts. But what's the takeaway here, Sushil?
Arnab, the problem,
you can tell them directly.
It's not the problem that they go to the courts. Today the problem is even when the courts have ordered, courts have opined, they're refusing to accept that judgment.
They refuse to accept. It's not convenient to them.
They even today say that it was not the right procedure followed to abrogate 370. They even still,
they're doing a contempt.
When the ink has not dried on paper, they refuse to accept the court's verdict.
What a shame.
That is the problem.
They don't respect the courts.
And
they don't care for the courts.
Senior, intellectuals within the party addressed a press conference questioning that verdict.
Shame.
And they were hunting for some kind of a fig leaf in courts ordering of elections by September next year. Can you imagine? I mean, I have heard of sore losers, but I haven't heard of such completely implacable minds.
Yeah, it's very shameful. Actually, I just want to bring in Nikhil here. Nikhil, please understand, the CGI has said that Article 370 was a temporary provision due to war conditions in the state. This was indicated by textual readings. Textual reading also indicates this was a temporary provision. Marginal note says it is temporary. It is transitory. You people don't know how to read English? After today, the only question to the lobby will be, do you not know how to read English? When there is a noting in a marginal note, a note made under the provision, वो note में लिखा गया है, this is temporary. Temporary मतलब हिंदी में अस्थाई. Transitory मतलब थोड़े समय के लिए. अस्थाई मतलब जो हिंदी बोलूं कि अंग्रेजी में बोलूं कि उर्दू में बोलूं, आप लोगों को दिखते हुए समझ में क्यों नहीं आती है? आप लोगों की आज नाक कटी है. I am telling you, it is a loss of face for you people. The Chief Justice have said that the JNK was under the proclamation of the Maharaja when he joined the Union of India. The Constitution of India will always supersede. They are against the Constitution of India. You understand?
No.
They are against the Indian Constitution.
The Congress Party is the party which gave this country the Constitution.
You didn't give. What do you mean we gave? 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 And you took it away during the emergency.
Majority during the Constituent Assembly. And let me respond to the specific question that you are asking. That you are saying that people from the Congress Party are unable to read the word temporary. Are you going to say that? Are you going to say the same thing to Justice Nariman and Justice Akash Kumar Goyal, who in 2018 had said that 370 has acquired a permanent status? A katina of Supreme Court judgments before this one have had said Article 370 has acquired a permanent status. And again, I'll point you out to Article 370, wherein it reads that it can be abrogated with the consent of the Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly. Can I put the same question to you? Can you not read Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly? Since when is the Parliament of India the Constituent Assembly? Be that as it may, today's judgment, so far as it is final. The previous Supreme Court judgments that I've talked about.
One minute. Sudhanshu is responding. So I tell you, Saraf ji, before you come in, I want to go to Sudhanshu.
Technical issue.
Viewers, I am very clear.
Technical issue, Home Minister Amit Shah,
I believe there is nothing called partial sovereignty.
On the floor of the House.
There is nothing called partial sovereignty.
Anything which is passed in the Parliament of India.
He's responding.
Can I say? No. They are saying that anything which is passed by the Parliament of India at 370 can only be done after the approval of the Constituent Assembly. And since Constituent Assembly ceases to exist, so it means it has become permanent. Sir, this type of logic, if you are saying, then by that logic, the India got independence by the act of the British Parliament. That was the Independence of India Act. So you will say that we are bound by the act of the England. India got independence. What type of logic you are giving? Parliament, that was Now that thing has, that power is vested into Government of India. In the same manner, the Constituent Assembly has finished. Now the entire power of that Constituent Assembly is now in the Parliament of India. I think if you are not able to understand that much of logic, तभी जो सुशील पंडित ने कहा कि साहब उसके बाद आप कह रहे हैं कि साहब वो 2024 में इलेक्शन कराने को भी कह दिया तो हम उसमें भी कुछ जश्न मनाएंगे, तो मुझे एक ही लाइन याद आती है इनके लिए अर्णव कि बर्बादियों का शोक मनाना फिजूल था, मैं बर्बादियों का जश्न मनाता चला गया।
Whether it was permanent or temporary, as long as it did not harm anyone, why did BJP resorted to a discrimination? There are other states also which are enjoying almost similar rights. As long as I remember, Nagaland also has certain similar status. And
you mean Nagaland has 370? Nagaland has 370. What are you talking about?
I never mean 370.
So,
as a symbol kind
I don't know if GD Bakshi is with us right now.
Similar kind of states. I never mean 370. But they too have an individual flags. They had an individual constitution. They had a state flag. Then when you could not resort it there, why it was done with the Jammu and Kashmir?
Because you want to know the truth. You want to know. Sir, listen to me. Sir, listen to me. No, not one more point. I will have to ask you.
Listen to me first. See, under 35A, what the Jammu and Kashmir residents were enjoying, they were enjoying protection to their jobs. They have been enjoying protection to their lives. Don't you think that in other states it's not being enjoyed? It is being enjoyed. Why there is a discrimination with the Jammu and Kashmir? Do you think that harmed certain people? It did not harm. Only thing is it gave some advantage, some privilege to the people of the Jammu and Kashmir, the permanent residents of Jammu and Kashmir. How did somebody dare to do it that they withdrew these rights from the Jammu and Kashmir? Do you think it's not discriminatory? Whether the 370 was permanent.
It's such a torture to hear all this because, I've heard this for longest time out here. And Ahmed Ayaz, sorry, but I'll tell you directly. You will enjoy the benefits sitting in Delhi. You will have the freedom. You will benefit in every way. You will benefit financially. You will benefit in every which way. And then you will go to foreign countries and say, please give me political asylum. Meri halat kharab hai India mein. This is rubbish. Today, investment proposals worth 25,000 crores are under execution in the Union Territory. Proposals to the tune of 80,000 crores are under process. And the fact is, since independence, Jammu and Kashmir had received private investments of only 14,000 crores. After the abrogation of 370 and the introduction of the new industrial development scheme, the Union Territory has received proposals of 81,122 crores in the last 2 years. But this money, allow me to complete, this money is not going into the pockets. This money is not going into the pockets of the Abdullahs and the Muftis. ये पैसा उनको नहीं मिल रहा है. They are not getting the money. Don't speak over. No. Ahmed Ayaz.
These were certain concessions consequent to the accession of the Jammu and Kashmir with the government of
क्या
India.
concession?
Yes.
क्या कौन देगा concession? किसने बोला concession? किसने क्यों दे concession? क्यों दे concession? एक मिनट. कोई ना बोला. आप बोल. क्या accession?
Jammu and Kashmir was part of India.
किसने बोला?
It was a princely state.
किसने
when it was annexed, when the Maharaja acceded,
That's why there has been 565 princely states, not only Jammu and Kashmir. Their privilege was taken by only our politicians. Political leaders have exploited on the name of 370 and 35 people of Kashmir. They have been always telling us, we being in Kashmiri, I am 15, you may be here since last 25 years I am based at Srinagar. I have seen the way people were suffering. आज कोई माँ अपने बच्चे को 6 बजे कॉल नहीं करती है, बेटा घर आ जाओ. आज 10 बजे कॉल करती है उसको, 10 बजे कॉल करके बोलती है आप खाना खा के आओगे या खाना खाओगे. आज मस्जिद में नमाज पढ़ने के लिए किसी को डर नहीं लगता है कि मस्जिद के बाद स्टोन पेल्टिंग होगी. हाउ कैन आई रीच माय होम? No. It is not like people of the place have exploited. I would ask by 1 minute. 1 minute. I would
nothing to do with the post 90 It was.
Let us speak.
I would request today. Just no. Sorry. You need to correct yourself. 370 was there before 1990 also. That time stone pelting was not there.
Why Rajiv Puro Kakod has created in Valley what they have created?
370
Kashmiri communities got migrated.
1979.
More than 50,000 Kashmiri Muslim nationalists have left the valley, including Sardars.
Not because of 370.
Of course, because of 370. Because of 370, they
Not
were the
because of
privilege.
370. No,
Ajib
then you
Farooq
are wrong.
Accord created
Then you are
militancy
wrong.
and culture in
370
Delhi.
was
How
there
can I
right
be
from
wrong?
after
How can I be
1957.
No Kashmiri was born with gun and pistol or stone. It has been given by the leaders of that place just because they feel they have.
But why do you link this to 370? 370 has nothing to do with it.
Today I would request.
Do you think that somebody stopped the
Today, I would request
Sarafji.
Home Minister Saab
No, it's not
just to
that.
register an FIR against ex-chief ministers, those who have killed 129 boys.
We need to understand some
as well as
basic things about it.
124 boys.
370 was in
killing
no
those
way
directly.
the
I would request
situation.
Honorable Home
Whatever was there
FIR
after
should be registered
1990.
against them. At least
If
justice
somebody
should
has
be given
taken the
people
gun,
on the
somebody
place.
has taken the
Then of
stone,
the
it
people
was
of
not
the place
because of
will also
370.
feel
No,
because of
the aggravation of 370 has done nothing to do it.
One short point. The two parties
Okay,
that
listen.
you keep on saying have looted the people of Jammu and
Nikhil,
Kashmir,
Nikhil.
National Conference and PDP.
Nikhil.
The BJP has been in alliance with both of them.
Nikhil, I'll tell you.
You're saying
Nikhil,
that
Nikhil, one. Can I
Can
tell you one thing? Can I tell you one thing? Problem is there are many blunders. I don't want to live with a blunder that your leader had. Your leader has had a history of blunders. 1 minute, please, let me complete. Your leader was a failed leader called Nehru. Article 370 was his blunder. I don't want to live with the blunder. General Bakshi doesn't want to live with the blunder. And Sudhanshu Trivedi does not want to live with the blunder. I am very clear, General Bakshi. Good evening. Can you hear me?
But we all want
Can I speak? No.
We all want to live in the India
did-
that he created.
Can you
as much as you
yeah,
want.
can you give me a break? This is an infantile. Can I?
Because of Jawaharlal.
Nikhil.
Because of Mahatma Gandhi.
One minute. Can I speak to General Bakshi? When I'm speaking to General Bakshi, don't be rude. My question is to General Bakshi. General Bakshi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Arnab.
No, he can't. Can I have Sudhanshu Trivedi on air, please? You can. Yeah, thank you very much, General Bakshi. General Bakshi and Sudhanshu Trivedi on air, please. That will help me a lot. Now, my question to you, sir, is this debate has been going on for 3 years, 4 years. You know, Article 370. Supreme Court has said today the state of Jammu and Kashmir does not have any internal sovereignty which is distinguishable from the powers and privileges enjoyed by other states in the country. Right? No state of India can claim any element of internal sovereignty. If every state of India were to claim different states of internal sovereignty, the country would break up. And that's why today's verdict is very important in my view. What's your take, General Bakshi?
You know, Arnab, may I remind you that Sheikh Abdullah had gone to Nehru pleading for this special status. He had sent him to Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar had heard him out, and then at the end of it, he had said, you know, you want the people of India to pay for your roads, your hospitals, your schools, and in the end, you don't have any rights and Jammu and Kashmir. This is treachery, and I will not do it as the law minister. Can you get clearer than that? I will not do it as the law minister. That is when he went crying again to Nehru, who sent him to Iyengar, and Iyengar did this neat hat trick of trying to get it by the back door. Thank God this provision has been thrown out. It should have been thrown out long ago. When we were fighting counter-terrorist operations in Jammu and Kashmir, Arnab, the people used to tell us, why are you being so ambiguous? Why are you saying the sky is the limit? Assert yourself, assert your sovereignty, and people will fall in line. That's precisely what this government has done. We have asserted our legitimate sovereignty over Jammu and Kashmir, and everyone has fallen in line. You couldn't fly the tricolor in Lal Chowk. Today it is awash with tricolors, the whole of Jammu and Kashmir. See the Dal Lake margin, aflutter with tricolors. You know, and this was the place where people used to get beaten up, have their bones broken by the J&K police personnel, no less, for the tricolor. What a sea change. You know, stone pelting down by 90%, Arnab. 90%. That tells you the amount of change that this has wrought. Because for once we have stood up and told the world, go climb a gum tree. The sovereignty of Jammu and Kashmir is not negotiable.
Just 1 minute. Yeah, I want to General Bakshi intervene for a moment. I want to intervene for a moment, and we must look at very seriously what is written in the conclusion of the judgment. Sudhanshu Trivedi, I'm coming back to you, and to Ahmed Ayaz, please. And I'm just coming to you after that, Sushil Pandit. The question is, should special status have been given to Kashmir in the first place? Actually, if you look at this conclusion, if you look at the judgment is critical not just of the people who are trying to say that the abrogation of 370 was wrong. The judgment is critical of the fact that 370 was allowed to exist for such a long time. In fact, without saying it in as many words, Sudhanshu Trivedi, the judgment is very, very critical of 370 itself. No. So the judgment is critical of 370 itself. It has very, very clearly said it was temporary. There is no question of sovereignty or partial sovereignty for any state. It has said that 370 was a feature of asymmetric federalism and not sovereignty. It has very clearly said the constitution of Jammu and Kashmir is redundant. The constitution of India matters. These are realities. This should be a lesson for this Tukre lobby, in my view, which for 3 years has been running this campaign and trying to drag the Supreme Court of India into this unnecessary controversy. Sudhanshu Trivedi, we need to be very careful of this group that is trying to put pressure on the courts to get into areas that are not the domain of the courts but the domain of the government. That is the domain of the government. These are not areas you should drag the courts into. This matter should never have gone to the courts. Sudhanshu Trivedi is on the debate. I'm opening it up, please. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
Yes, of course. Because now they are losing their social ground, losing their political ground, having the no moral authority. They are trying to approach each and every time unnecessary, putting trouble for the legal authorities, that is the Supreme Court of India. In this context, I would also like to say that during this period of 1947-48, which General Bakshi was referring, on 24th of October 1947, when the accession document was signed, there was no if and but, comma or full stop other than as it was with other princely states. Then why it was unnecessarily added? And when it was called temporary and transient, it continued for 3 generations. From 1948 to 2019. It took 71 years for get to abrogated. जिसे एक कहावत होती ना कि आह को चाहिए एक उम्र असर होने तक, आपने तो 3 जनरेशन निकाल दी और उसके बाद उसको जाने के लिए. And now when it is removed, then you are saying the Supreme Court has categorically said, number 1, there cannot be any special sovereignty of any state under a country. Any state is equal, they cannot claim sovereignty. Number 2, if it was temporary and transient, it has to be dealt with in accordance with its spirit. But it is not been dealt with the spirit. And now, today, when you are saying that it is being done without a proper legal procedure, it is being duly upheld that it is done with proper legal procedure, unlike 35A, which is the one constitutional amendment which was brought by presidential proclamation without bringing it on the floor of the house. ये भारत का इकलौता संविधान संशोधन था जो संसद में कभी पारित ही नहीं हुआ और एनेक्सर में जाके ऐड हो गया. But now everything has been cleared, settled down, and now Kashmir is marching ahead on. और एक और चीज में just one thing I would like to remind. ये 2019 में जब ये एक्ट पारित हुआ 5 अगस्त को, उससे पहले by the powers vested in Parliament from Assembly of Jammu Kashmir, reservation का constitutional amendment हुआ on the border district and all opposition parties supported. How come that the Parliament is having the power of Jammu Kashmir Assembly for one constitutional amendment but not having for other constitutional amendment? I think this type of logics were ridiculous.
Correct.
That is the point.
Solid point.
See,
Sudhanshu Trivedi, one point here. Sushil Pandit, when this happened in 2019, so many things these people said. And today you will find it interesting, viewers, when the Supreme Court is saying that the government was right, this whole lobby has gone quiet. Or they'll report it somewhere, they'll report it with an angle. Why doesn't the Wire say we were wrong? Why doesn't Scroll say our perspective was wrong? Why doesn't other people say we were incorrect? Look, why don't the politicians said what? Democracy in India has been murdered. You know, all these these Congi leaders said foreign countries must intervene. Democracy in India is dead. Ghulam Nabi Azad said India's head has been chopped off. The government is immoral. We have lost Kashmir. Ye campaign hua tha ki nahi hua tha, Sushil ji?
Yes.
Ye campaign chali thi sirf. Was it only against the government or was it against the people of India?
Absolutely.
And if it was a campaign against the people of India, where is the counter acceptance today? Is anybody saying we were wrong?
No, I'll give you
anybody accepting? Is anybody accepting we were wrong? We have hurt nationalists. Anybody said that?
Yes. No, for your esteemed panelists and for your viewers, much before today's Supreme Court judgment came, much before thousands of crores of rupees as investment came to Kashmir, and much before the stone pelting even stopped, one thing happened immediately after Article 370 was nullified. China went to Security Council of United Nations objecting to it. Not once, not twice, thrice. By December 2019, China had gone to Security Council objecting to this.
And the Congress was speaking on China's behalf.
And on August 5
well,
says,
say it, don't stop. Speak up.
Pakistan expelled our ambassador, our High Commissioner Ajay Bisaria.
Oh, yeah, Sheikh. One. Continue speaking. Don't stop. Don't stop. They will shout over you. Don't stop. Continue. Let him speak. Let him speak.
Whose interest was Article 370 serving in our constitution?
Yeah.
I do not remember.
And which party?
One minute. India ever expelling Pakistani diplomats from here, Pakistani High Commissioner, not in the wake of Kargil, not in the wake of attack on Parliament, not in the wake of Mumbai attack, not in the wake of Pulwama, not in the wake of Uri, but Pakistan expelled our High Commissioner when Parliament of India had openly discussed this issue, through due process voted on it, and exercised its sovereign right over a territory of India. Pakistan expelled our High Commissioner.
No, I know. I think
ever India going to Security Council complaining against China? Another issue.
Why should I'm saying one. What's your counter question? One minute. What's your counter question?
What has that to do with the 370? I asked that, but before that, I just wanted to respond to a very important
No, just one minute. You are saying today. One minute. You are saying today, what does that have to do with 370? I am simply asking you, since 2019 at every forum in India and abroad, Sudhanshu ji, मेरा बहुत straight सवाल है. 2019 से लेके अब तक, at every platform in India and abroad, from Frankfurt to Tokyo to New York to Washington to Pakistan, everywhere you people go and say, in India democracy is dead because 370 is gone. In India the constitution is dead because the constitution has been walked over the day the BJP government removed 370. Today the Supreme Court of India has said the BJP government has done the right thing by removing 370. तो बहुत पहले होना चाहिए था. I want you now to go to Pakistan and say I was wrong. I want you to go to London and New York and go and say I was wrong. Because you've given my country a bad name. You've given my country a name. I'll tell you what it is. And Sudhanshu will listen. You have gone and said, do you think I have no right to speak? You have a right to speak, but then you also have a, you have, one minute, you have a right to speak, but 1 minute, because you have a duty to apologize, so look at the screen and apologize. Say I was wrong.
For what?
For abusing the country.
For what?
For abusing.
Nobody has abused.
For abusing.
No,
saying that 370 was an attack on the constitution.
No, seeking your rights does not mean abusing the.
I would say don't. I would say you're even abusing my democracy. You're abusing the country's democracy.
Everybody is free to seek his rights.
Yeah, free to seek his rights. That also
does not mean abusing the country.
Well, you called it a regressive step.
Who must
apologize.
abuse the country?
Apologize.
When you say
Sudhanshu,
somebody seeking for the right, and you.
Well, I let Sudhanshu respond. My 1 minute. I want to hear from him. Listen here right now. Sudhanshu Trivedi and
Arnab, Sushil Pandit ji has made a very significant mention that China tried to bring a resolution thrice in Security Council but unable to bring anything. Sir, forget about China. Even Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates were not very willing to support Pakistan on this issue. There was a time during Congress regime when the issue of Kashmir used to come at the international level. Only Soviet Union used to be on our side and almost rest of the world towards the side of Pakistan. Now today the situation under Modi government has taken a total U-turn. When the issue comes, only China is on their side and almost rest of the world towards our side. साहब चाइना तो छोड़िए, जब उनको यूएई और सऊदी अरब का भी साथ नहीं मिला तो आज पाकिस्तान को उस मुकाम पे लाके छोड़ा है कि इस भरी दुनिया में कोई भी हमारा न हुआ, गैर तो गैर थे, अपनों का सहारा न हुआ। जनाब आज मैं आपसे कहना चाहता हूं अगर पीओके के बीच की लाइन खोल दी जाए और ये कहा जाए कि उधर के कश्मीर और इधर के कश्मीर में कौन आना चाहता, हम तो नहीं चाहते साहब, मैं दावे से कहता हूं मुजफ्फराबाद खाली हो जाएगा क्योंकि उन्हें लगता है कि मोदी जी के कश्मीर में डेवलपमेंट है और उधर के कश्मीर में सिर्फ तबाही है। इस जमाने में यहाँ पे सिर्फ नारे लगते थे, हम चाहते हैं आजादी।
सुधांशु लाउडा, सुधांशु लाउडा।
फसादी घुसे हुए थे, उसमें बगदादी घुसे हुए थे, उसमें जल्लादी घुसे हुए थे, उसमें जिहादी घुसे हुए थे।
Listen to Sudhanshu. Not everyone on the screen. Thank you.
That's why you should try to understand. That's why you should try to understand.
Well, I would, in conclusion, let me tell you, the country is run by the government of the country, not by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has a right to get into areas, but the Supreme Court has said itself today, you cannot get into every area where the government has to decide. So don't go crying to the Supreme Court tomorrow when you disagree with the foreign policy of the country, or the defense policy of the country, or for that matter the internal security policy of the country. Deal with it. There's a government which has won the mandate, which has taken the decision. Deal with it. Stop crying and going crying to the Supreme Court over everything. Ladies and gentlemen, on the other side, the unusual
370-35
Mr. Saraf,
Kashmir Assembly.
Thank you, Mr. Saraf. On the other side, the very unusual choice of unexpected and surprise choice of the name for the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, the politics behind it. And I'm back.